For those of us on a self-improvement, change our lives journey, better mindset, better quality of life, better life vision, we are constantly working on being better. It's not just let me just do this one thing and my life will be better. It is a constant practice of commitment and enjoyment to make our lives better in every way. And one of those really big commitments and very enjoyable things is becoming self-aware. We start to fall asleep in our lives. We don't pay attention to the way that we're acting or the face that we're making while somebody's talking, or we kind of don't realize how we're acting in that moment because we're not becoming self-aware. We're not becoming aware of our behaviors and actions in that moment. And if we would improve on our self-awareness, our lives would change as well. Like, we would become more aware of how we treat people, how loud we're speaking, how rude we're being, or how kind we're being. To check in with yourself every so often. How am I behaving? How am I acting? Am I acting to my highest self? Is this my highest impression of myself coming out at this moment? Or am I falling back into my old self? Am I falling back into my old ways? One of these self-awareness things could be your drinking. Maybe you have a little bit too much to drink, or you've had too much to drink in your past and you're trying to improve that in your future. You're trying to improve the way that you control your alcohol intake. But you, for some reason, keep falling back into the party person, the one that gets drunk, the one that falls off the table, the one that has too many, the one that drinks and drives, because you're not becoming self-aware. If you started to become more self-aware, how many drinks have I had? How am I behaving? Am I getting to the point where I shouldn't have any more? When do I stop to restrain myself? When am I going to start becoming the person that I want? I need to become more self-aware. I need to become more self-aware of how I'm behaving and acting and moving around in this area. What am I doing that I need to become more aware of? Self-awareness is the way we level up in life. If we don't know how we're acting, if we're not aware of how we're speaking or how our faces are reacting, or how we react to people, how we communicate with people, like if we're always talking over someone instead of letting them finish, that's a self-awareness. You have to be aware that you're doing that. You have to be aware that you need to let that person finish speaking. Give them a moment, and then you can speak. We also have to be aware of, are we listening to what they're saying? Or are we lost in our own thoughts, in our own agenda, what we're thinking? Are we waiting to say what we want to say? Again, self-awareness. Become aware of how you're doing things. Become aware of how you're eating your food. Who are you with? Are you with your buddies, or are you with a table of very affluent people? And then you need to start becoming more aware of, do I eat slower? How do I eat? What are my manners? How do I treat people? How do I treat myself? Self-awareness is important. It's not that we can go sleeping on ourselves, especially if we're trying to raise our vibration, have a better life, create more wealth and joy and happiness. Self-awareness is where we need to begin. We need to begin with that when we start looking at the outside world. We're working on the inside. We're becoming more, we're changing our self-image. We're changing our self-image to the image, our highest image of ourselves, what we truly want to see ourselves become. But once you find that self-image, once you find how you want to show up in this world, Now you have to become aware that you are actually portraying that person, that you are becoming that person. If you are a person that speaks loudly at parties, you're always the chuckler, the loud person, telling dirty jokes, and you don't want to be that person anymore, that doesn't resonate or align with your highest image of yourself, become self-aware. Become self-aware of who you want to be and start to become that. Do you want to be that person that always listens? The nurturer, the one that everybody can turn to, the one that doesn't gossip or talk shit about people? If that's the highest that you see yourself, become self-aware. And when you find yourself getting bored and talking with your friends, and then all of a sudden you start talking about people and you become self-aware, you're like, oh, wait, that's not who I want to be anymore. I'm going to, nope, sorry. I don't want to be that person. I'm that person that drinks too much. Oh, no, I already know I had 2 drinks and I'm becoming a little loud. I should start drinking water. I'm going to cut it off. This self-awareness, this is such a great thing. This is how you start to control your outside environment. This is how you start to move things around, start showing the universe how you want to show up in the world, how you want to portray yourself. It aligns with your self-image. Your self-awareness has to be aligned with your self-image, your highest self-image. If I did a video on self-image, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's a game changer. It's where we start. It's where we start. It is our everything. It's how we see ourselves in this world. It's how we feel and think about ourselves in this world. And once we change that self-image, now we have to, like I said, become aware that we're actually following through, that we're actually becoming that person. And if you're not aware of who you are, if you're not aware of your inner thoughts, if you're not aware that you're speaking loudly or having too much to drink or going back to your old self, if you're not aware of that, then you are going to fall back into your old self-image, because you're going to wake up the next morning and you're going to be like, I had too much to drink. Dang it. I always, why don't I stop myself? Why did I keep drinking too much? Why did I get too loud? Why do I embarrass myself? You know, again, the power of questions. I also did a video on power of questions. Really great. Questions are important. They all are important. All of these things, the questions you ask, your self-image, your self-awareness, all of these things are coming to help you build a better quality of life. You're no longer living your life on autopilot. Now you're living with intention. You're living with an intention to improve your life, to live your highest vibration, to raise your frequency. When you become more self-aware of your image, of your body, of the way you treat people, of how you talk to yourself, the questions you ask the universe, what you expect from the universe, when you become all these things, yes, it seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. But would you rather be asleep to your life and just let anything happen? How far has that gotten you? You know? You're here to change your life. You're here to live and thrive in a different way. You're here to become your highest self. Your highest self. You cannot do that if you keep sleeping on yourself, if you keep falling asleep to the way that you are. How are you being? Be self-aware. Be very conscious of how you're sitting. You know, are you sitting with your legs are you sitting like this? Are you hunching over? Are you cussing a lot? Are you telling bad, dirty jokes? There's like a shadow in my face. Are you telling bad and dirty jokes all the time? Are you becoming more of the person you want to be? Are you actually starting to become the man, the woman, the entrepreneur, the lover, the partner, the father, the mother, the parent that you want to be? Are you starting to become that person? Are you noticing that you are becoming that person? Are you noticing that you're falling back on being that person? Are you noticing that you're going back to your old ways? If you're not self-aware, you can't self-correct. You can't put yourself back on track. When you become self-aware, you start to adjust, you start to move, you start to say, oh, I'm starting to go to the old way. Let's go bring it back. Start to become more aware of what we're doing. You'll see it's a process, but it's a process that you can fall in love with, because it is a process that you start to realize that you live a more fulfilling life. Your life becomes more fulfilling. You have purpose, you have intent, you have attention, you have action. You're showing the universe, this is where I want to be, this is where I'm going, this is who I want to become. You're showing yourself that this is where you want to be, this is who you want to become. And when you start to take the action, you can't get anywhere without action. When you start becoming that person and taking the action, it all starts to fall into place. It all starts to move. Become self-aware. Check in with yourself every so often. Say, what am I thinking? How am I talking? How am I sitting? Am I paying attention? Am I talking over this person? Have I had too much to drink? Just start to ask yourself questions where you can start to wake yourself up and actually become self-corrected. Correct yourself. Help yourself out. Don't let yourself go back to where you don't want to be, because that's what's going to happen. Your mind and your subconscious is comfortable in a spot right now. You're fused with this because this is the moods and ideas and behaviors you're always used to going to. But once you start changing those moods and ideas and behaviors, you're going to have to train yourself. You're going to have to make those new habits. You're going to have to start correcting yourself. And if you don't have self-awareness, you can't do that. You cannot change those things about you. You're going to keep going back. So let's become self-aware. Let's start making our lives with full intention. Full intention. Your intention, your actions, your feelings, your thinking, all are in alignment with your highest self. You've already changed your self-image. You've already started to ask yourself very empowering questions. You started to notice how you're behaving in the world. You're changing your self-reflection, and everything is starting to move in your life. Start to become more aware. Start to become that person. Feel yourself becoming that person, noticing what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you're acting, and life will you'll just wake up and you'll be that person. It's going to take some practice, and you're going to have to keep making sure you don't fall back. Become self-aware. I thank you so much. I thank you so much for tuning in and being in my channel and being part of my tribe. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much. This is such a great journey. I have shadows all over my face, but it is what it is. Love you. Mwah.